Was it your permission?
Yes.
Okay. After the assault that happened to me at 14 years old, I've struggled in many ways, some obvious and some not as obvious. In the short time after the attack, I struggled with feeling extremely violated and dirty. I'd shower and scrub myself raw while sobbing because I felt like he was still on me somehow. The overwhelming feelings of shame, hurt, and pain I felt were unimaginable. I couldn't stop the thoughts flooding in my head. It was hard to breathe. I tried to escape with sleep and it haunted my dreams. I couldn't escape the unmanageable amount of emotions. I had switched bedrooms to be closer to my dad, to feel safer. I did everything I could to feel safer in my own home. I struggled to understand my own emotions, questioning why me, who would want to harm me in this way, what did I do to deserve this, and who was it? These questions alone can drive anybody mentally insane, let alone a 14-year-old girl. These questions never went away and sometimes only got stronger. A common issue that isn't often discussed is that some assault victims become hypersexual, which happened to me months later. It becomes dangerous. You can't say no to people because you're afraid of them using force. The fear of force in sexual situations caused me to go into shock. Long term, the attack caused me to spend years trying to come up with a story that made sense. I've always believed there was another person involved, and I'll probably always believe that. I have seen the person who I believed had part in it, and it put me into a panic. I quit a job after noticing he was hired at my place of employment, worried about being followed or harmed. I've struggled with making friends because the only information I had about my attacker was his skin tone, glasses, and that he was thinner with a more fit appearance, and it led me to feel anxious around anybody who resembled him, as I never knew who my attacker was. As a single mom, living alone with 2 little girls, I always felt scared when it got dark. For years, I'd wake up with nightmares and be startled by smaller noises, creaks on the headboard, rustling in the fan, my pets moving around and my neighbor moving, or making any sort of noise that I can't see. The sounds sent me into a panic. I'd call the police, hide under my blanket, convince someone was breaking in. The cops would come search my home, reassure me, and I wouldn't be able to sleep the rest of the night. This happened multiple times a month for at least 2 to 3 years. To this day, I still get nervous around men drinking beer because it reminds me of the smell of my attacker's breath as he breathed on me when I cried with his hand over my mouth. My self-worth plummeted, leading me to become hypersexual, neglect safe sex practices. I put myself in harmful situations, believing that was all I deserved, and felt unworthy of someone treating me with genuine care. I've been diagnosed with night terrors and PTSD from the attack. I've gone to therapy on a weekly basis. I experienced night terrors and flashbacks triggered by reminders of that night. I also began sleep talking, almost full conversations, swearing and being upset is what people around me have told me. Over the past 2 years, I've missed months of work due to the overwhelming stress and triggers exacerbating my PTSD during the court process. When I received the call that there was a match, it had been almost 8 full years since the attack. I was on my break at work and broke down, sobbing, hyperventilating for almost 45 minutes. I worked at my child's school at the time, and so when I went in, I hugged my child when I was very upset still. I tried to push through the day, and I was allowed to spend the last few hours of work with her class because I was in no shape to work. I struggled to trust anyone to this day because I don't believe you truly ever know a person. Almost 10 years have passed. I still suffer from night terrors and flashbacks. When major triggers occur, I feel nervous about not knowing who a delivery driver is, and I avoid retrieving my items until they've left. Uber, DoorDash, any sort of delivery service. When someone knocks on my door unexpectedly, I get anxious and sometimes panic, as the people I know, I don't expect them to knock. I expect them to come in. Often peeking through windows and checking my Ring cameras before ever going towards the door. I have kids who have friends, and even though I know during the day that there's a knock, it's probably just a friend asking to play, I still get nervous and have to make sure before opening the door. My kids are affected as well, as my anxiety and fears are still very overwhelming. I no longer trust anybody. My kids don't get to have sleepovers at anyone's homes who I'm not personally close with, as I'm unable to protect them in someone else's home. I'm unable to guarantee their safety. Every night I triple check that all the doors and windows are locked and shut, sometimes getting up again to make sure. After all this time, it still affects me in many ways and will forever. Something that the defendant will never understand the feeling of. That being said, I believe he should be sentenced to the highest extent, as it's been shown to this day there's no remorse or for any of the pain and suffering that was caused. Thanks for hearing my voice and bringing me justice.
Statement before I sentence you?
I do.
You may.
I believe that I've been wrongly convicted. I don't understand how this person can sit up here and say that I did something, but when it came to trial, she did not recognize me. Well, that's when she was reading that letter just a couple of moments ago. She just said that the person that she suspected of this went to her job also and worked there. I also believe that this county should do their investigations properly on both sides, the victim or whoever's been prosecuted. I'm going to lose my life to something I did not do. This truly did happen to her. There should be justice, I believe. But justice for the right person. That's all I have to say.
All right. Mr. Thomas, there was a finding of guilt on all 4 counts pursuant to Minnesota Statute 609.04. This court is prohibited from entering convictions on both greater counts and included counts so long as they were both from the same criminal act. The conduct proven in this matter constitutes one criminal act. Accordingly, as to count 1, first-degree criminal sexual conduct, judgment of conviction is entered. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute 609.04, Subdivision 1, Parents 1 and 4, counts 2, 3, and 4 are included offenses within count 1. Accordingly, the finding of guilt has been accepted, but no further adjudication will be entered on those 3 counts. The first issue regarding sentencing pertains to the amount of credit to which you are entitled. Pursuant to Minnesota Rule of Criminal Procedure 27.03, sub 4, parent B, this court must give credit for the number of days spent in custody in connection with the offense or behavioral incident being sentenced. You bear the burden as the defendant of establishing entitlement to credit for the time spent in custody during criminal proceedings. In determining the amount of jail credit to be awarded, appellate courts have directed trial courts to determine how much credit should be awarded, and thus the concern of relying on irrelevant factors is not present here. Regarding the 4th factor, that is prosecutor manipulation, State v. Foley, that is the Minnesota Supreme Court case from 1989, is the quintessential case that addresses when credit should be awarded to cure inequities relating to matters that are subject to manipulation by the prosecutor. The Foley case stands as a shameful embarrassment. The correct criminal history score is therefore 5. You are hereby sentenced to 360 months commitment to the Commissioner of Corrections, of which you will serve 2/3 custody and 1/3 unsupervised release, barring any disciplinary infractions which may result in you leading up to the entire 360 months incarcerated. Credit for time served? Quit talking. I'm sentencing you. The credit for time served is 694. Your commitment to put him down in that chair.
I'm done.
Your commitment to the correctioner shall be followed by a 10-year period of conditional release. Restitution is left open for 30 days. You are required to register as a predatory offender for the duration of your life, and if you fail to do so, failure to register may be punished as a crime. No costs, fines, or public defender fees assessed. We are adjourned.